All right, we are here. All right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. If you heard it twice, it's because I just want to make sure the playback was good. This is my first time in 3 years doing this. Yes. So welcome everyone to the Great American Bash press conference. I am your host, Crater, the guy behind the voice of WWE 2K22 Universe Mode series on this channel. If you probably don't recognize my face, you've been seeing it sometimes via if you watched my latest 4K playthroughs of Spider-Man remastered for the PC or Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy the Duelist. You'll be able, you probably would have saw my face, but I'm pretty sure you Universe guys probably didn't watch the video, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to have an update on those types of content later on in this stream. I'm just glad I'm finally able to do this. It's been over 3 years since I've done a live stream like this. Kind of scared. I've been live streaming on Twitch for over a year. This is why I haven't been on YouTube. I decided, I'm come back on YouTube. 2K22 is finally a good game. Why not start doing Universe Mode? So far, I've been enjoying my time doing Universe Mode. Been learning a lot, relearning a lot. Because I've been doing Universe Mode since like 2K, 18 on this? Well, technically 2K15, but that's another story. 2K15, the actual continuity didn't begin until 2K18, until all the way to here. So I'm very glad that's been everything is shaping up here on this channel. I appreciate you guys for even stick with me through this year, well, last year, 2022. For just restarting my universe mode. I know I've been going for 2 years. If someone leaves a channel dead for 2 years, but people care enough to come back, and it showed that there's some new faces here, some old faces. I just appreciate all the support. We're heading into 2K23, but we still got some stuff to do here on 2K22. So with that being said, let's just go over some few notes. I think I had a note. God, this is how unorganized I was. I know I had like a checklist of stuff we were going to talk about in order, but obviously we can go out of order. For those who are watching on video on demand, like I said, there'll probably be timestamps for certain stuff, so you want to hear about certain stuff during this press conference, like the match or whatever. I will be sure to timestamp these after the live stream, or if you decide to come here live, that is perfectly fine. So, Great American Bash. Some of you guys were asking, like, why is it in the stadium? Why is this pay-per-view in the stadium? Normally, something like Great American Bash is in the stadium. Well, I guess this is a little universe mode behind the scenes-esque situation where when I do universe mode, so when I start universe mode all the way back in, June of this year, I usually plan stuff out 3 months in advance. So the pay-per-views at the time had slated was Judgment Day was the first one, Backlash was the second one, and the Great American Bash is going to be the third one. Then once I get through that, I have the next 3 slates. So I pretty much write stuff out 3 months in advance. And the reason why I did it that way is because, especially the reason why it was only one brand at the time. Now there's 2 with SmackDown, because when I wrote out this universe mode in June, all the DLC was not out yet at the time. I told myself, either I'm going to get to the Great American Bash or the DLC is going to come out and then we're going to do the brand split again. I was waiting for all the characters to come out so I can sort out the rosters, split them in half, and that's what we did. It's just the timing was off. By the time the DLC came out, I was wrapping up my Backlash pay-per-view, recording that and finishing that. So what ended up happening, I was like, well, crap. I could technically split the rosters. I wasn't planning on doing that until probably next batch of months of storytelling and content. It's probably going to be happening during around SummerSlam, which, by the way, breaking news, that's the next pay-per-view after that will be SummerSlam. So there you go, guys. That's the next one. You guys wondering what will be the next pay-per-view. It's obviously going to be co-brand with now Raw and SmackDown. I was figuring SummerSlam would be a good way to split the brands right there, but the DLC came out way faster for me to get to the Great American Bash. I was like, all right, then we're going to do this draft during the Great American Bash build up, and that's exactly why it ended up the way it was. This is why the Great American Bash will always tend to be a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, but because the DLC came out, I had to the draft made it so there are some SmackDown superstars still on the card for that show. and which we'll go over the match order, how all those matches came to be, and then we can go from there. But yeah, so Great American Bash, still Raw exclusive pay-per-view. I want to say this in advance, so you guys, you're probably wondering when you watch tomorrow what's going to be happening on this show. Without going into spoilers, I'm just going to say, as a reminder, this is a Raw exclusive pay-per-view. So the narratives and stories are going to be pushed on this show is specifically mainly for Raw. I'm not saying there won't be anything pushed for SmackDown. I'm just saying don't expect anything SmackDown related. I'm saving, for the most part, everything for SmackDown. The season premiere of SmackDown, which is already done and finished, and it could be ready to go when I decide to release it, just like season premiere of Raw. But I'm just saying, for this pay-per-view, just do not expect any narratives to be pushed for SmackDown. It's pretty much tight, close. I'm not saying that nothing will happen in terms of SmackDown side. I'm just saying just don't expect too much of that. It's just pretty much me Raw focused for the most part, establishing championships on the brand, who's going to be holding the championships moving forward on that brand and whatnot. So that's going to be primarily the focus on that show. So there's that. SmackDown, their stories and whatnot will pretty much start on the season premiere. Not saying that it might not. You're just going to have to wait and see. So with that being said, in terms of the SmackDown branded pay-per-views, exclusive pay-per-views, I could tell you guys, I guess, right here up front, their first pay-per-view will be No Mercy. It will take place sometime after SummerSlam, because I guess I could tell you the next 3 pay-per-views. So yeah, SummerSlam coming up will be co-branded pay-per-view between Raw and SmackDown. So obviously that's going to be happening. That'll be happening in 4 weeks from the Great American Bash. There'll be 4 Raw episodes, 4 main event episodes, 4 SmackDown episodes, and then you'll get SummerSlam. We'll get into which game that would be on, whether 2K22 or 2K23. We'll get to that later in the stream. Besides that, that's for co-branded pay-per-view. The next Raw exclusive pay-per-view will be taking place 2 weeks after that, which will be Unforgiven. So that will be another Raw exclusive pay-per-view. That was already in the works before the brand split happened. I already had that on deck. So that was going to be take place 2 weeks after SummerSlam. So you're going to get another Raw exclusive pay-per-view not so far off from SummerSlam. And then SmackDown, I forgot exactly. I'm going to look at my calendar later. I'll probably tell you guys in the post show if you want more information on that. The SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, which will be No Mercy, will take place after Unforgiven. I think it'll be a couple weeks after Unforgiven, probably like 3 or 4 weeks after Unforgiven. I'm trying to give SmackDown as much build as they can to their first pay-per-view, because obviously they have 4 weeks to build their SummerSlam. Once that happens, I'm gonna give them a lot of as much build as I can for their very first brand exclusive pay-per-view, which will be No Mercy. Other than that, those are pretty much in terms of the pay-per-view slate. In terms of the match order, now this is off the top of my head since I haven't personally looked at the pay-per-view since I've been finished with it. So guys was wondering, the Great American Bash pay-per-view was finished around like 2 days after the draft premiered on this channel. So remember, the draft premiered all the way in December, and at that time I was still working on Great American Bash. Got done 2 weeks. I mean, like 2 days after that. So it's been over a month with all 3. So I don't exactly remember the exactly what happens in that show. Honest to God, because when I make something, I just let it go out in public and I watch it with you guys while it premieres to see what I did. I don't personally like that. I don't like looking at my work before it just comes out publicly. I just make it as best as my ability, make sure there's like no screw ups and stuff. I know there's some typos in terms of promos and stuff. For the most part, I make it like concise and just put it out. And then if I forgot something, I was like, oh yeah, I actually did do this. Then I remember, and I'll take note of that in terms of future episodes. Now you probably ask yourself, now why did you delay the Great American? I got that question as soon as I announced when the Great American Bash was coming out, and I'm gonna answer that right now. The reason why I delayed the Great American Bash was because of multitude of reasons we'll get to. One, I could have, nothing stopped me from premiering it last week. It really wasn't nothing. I could have put that out there, whatever. However, there was 3 things that's going through my mind. One, the Super Bowl. It was a Sunday. Super Bowl just so happens to be that day. I thought there was kind of virtually no point for it to come out the same day. It was probably gonna be in the afternoon anyway, like probably gonna premiere at that time, probably like 2 or whatnot. But it was just, I just felt as though people were gonna be so focused on Super Bowl. So that was just one of the reasons why I decided not to do that. Then I could have premiered it on Saturday. Unfortunately, the day before Super Bowl, there was this another group of YouTubers. I believe they're called like the Movement or whatnot. I don't actually know. I know who they are, but I forgot, like, it's like Fam or something, like their Fam War Rumble they were building to, and like everyone watched that. So I was like, well, that's pointless. There's no reason why I premiere it there. No one's gonna watch it on that day anyway. And then this week on Thursday, there was this another Universe Mode series that people like, this Relentless show. I forgot. They also had like a Royal Rumble style event. I was like, okay, I have to put it out next Sunday. It seems like nothing in terms of the Universe Mode scene here on YouTube, nothing's happening on that day. So that is why I decided, okay, this Sunday, tomorrow will be the day to do it. Nothing else is happening. Day before President's Day here in the States. If you don't live in the States, it's just a holiday. So I figured, why not give that out before President's Day? It's actually fitting. I didn't realize it was President's Day. Honest to God, I did not do this on purpose. When I looked at the day, I was like, because in my area, schools are out on Monday. I was like, why is it out on Monday? That makes no sense to me. And then I looked, it was like President's Day. Well, that's ironic because my favorite is Great American Bash. It's all about America and presidency and historic events like that. I was like, wow, that is, you talk about perfect timing. I did not delay it. I swear to you guys, I did not delay this pay-per-view over much to have it on President's Day. That is just pure coincidence. I wanted to get out the Great American Bash as soon as possible. And also, another reason, the third reason, is, as I said before, when I make content on this channel, I try to do it in batches. In terms of long form videos, shorts is a different beast, which I'll go later into, like updates on the channel, whatever. But in terms of like long form videos that are not like shorts or live streams like this, I try to make them batches so you guys can like have as much content as possible before I'm able to make more and then put out that a new batch of content. Try to make a minimum of 30 long form related video, whether it's like obviously Universe Mode intros, Fallout, or full episodes of that. I try to bash them into 30 videos. So like that's like 30 days in a month almost. Well, February's 28, but like 30 days in a month. And that's just how my process of doing it. I'm getting better at it. I'm trying to get at a quicker pace. I feel like now the way I have it set right now, I feel like I'll be able to keep that pace going, especially with 2K23. So that's just my goal. And so you're ever wondering, like, why does he take a long break after Great American Bash? I do it on purpose. I could have, I could have released Great American Bash, but there'd been nothing left for you guys. If I released the Great American Bash the week after the draft, there'd been nothing. Cause the season premiere of Raw wasn't done. The season premiere of SmackDown wasn't done. None of that. But now, since we're here, I can tell you, Great American Bash. Then you're gonna see season premiere of Raw. Then you're gonna see the new revamped main event, which I'm personally looking forward to how your reactions is to that. And then the season premiere of SmackDown as of this live stream. Episode 14, because 13 would be the season premiere of Raw. Episode 14 is currently in production. The filming of it's done. I'm now filming just rest extra scenes, and then be writing the script probably later today, or no, probably not, because Elimination Chamber comes on today and I gotta watch that. So hopefully by, let's say, Monday or Tuesday, episode 14 of Raw would be done, and I would still be on schedule in terms of releasing Universe Mode content. So that's the plan there. So if you guys wondering, like, why do I take a long break in between streams, that's the reason. Also, this stream is sponsored. I know it's kind of, because it's white and I have a Elgato key light right there. It is sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts Brownie Blast flavored latte. I've been waiting for this flavor to come back for years. This is probably my favorite flavor of Dunkin' Donuts of all of their flavors. Otherwise, I just get their mocha flavor. But this Brownie Blast, they should have it all year round. I don't know why they don't, but it is what it is. Good stuff, and that's gonna help me stay awake during this press conference. It's gonna help me stay awake for that. But yeah, so there's that. If you guys was wondering, why do I bash those videos? Like, I know a lot of you people ask me that during my live stream. I'd say, you know what? I mean, during the premieres of Raw or main event at the time, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna answer them fully during the live stream. That's the reason I try to bash you guys, give you as much content as possible, so I can work on it. Because universe mode videos don't just come out of thin air like that. It takes a minute. It definitely takes me. You know what? Let me put something live. Let me ease up that key light for a second. It could be a little lower. No, it can't. We're gonna put it right about 15 because it is kind of too bright. So yeah, that's part of the reason. It's just, it takes a minute, universe mode, because it's especially cinematic universe. I blame Murphs. If there's one person to blame, you have to blame Murphs. He inspired me all the way back in 2018 to do a cinematic. I always wanted to do it, but I was afraid that no one would watch. But when I see Murphs do it, shout out to Murphs. I know he doesn't do universe mode kind of anymore. He does more of a what if, which is a brilliant concept. I gotta give props to him. He always innovates. If there's one guy who innovates here in this 2K scene on YouTube, is definitely Murphs. I always wanted to do a style universe mode with like cinematic, actually storytelling promos, not the BS promos that they had in the other games. Which now it's ironic because people are complaining why there are promos back in this universe mode. I can go in detail in the 2K23 section in a second, but yeah, just shout out to Murphs. He's the reason. If it wasn't for Murphs, I would not have been doing this style of cinematic universe mode. So hopefully I can uphold his legacy. The rest of us, not just me, everyone else who does these cinematic style universe modes that make it more entertaining for the people to watch. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this. And yeah, just a quick shout out of him. But all right, match order and the whole rundown of the card. We have 8 matches for the Great American Bash tomorrow. No kickoff show. Obviously, if you haven't noticed, there's no kickoff show for this. SummerSlam, there will be a kickoff show, but for Great American Bash, I feel as though for this first event in the stadium, I don't think there was a need for a kickoff show. I feel like the concept of this show being in a stadium in itself is, it doesn't need a kickoff show. Plus, I didn't have time to justify an extra match for the kickoff show, especially because I had to coincide this with the draft, which I want to say again, thank you all for watching the draft. It blew my expectations out the water, honest to God. I didn't want it to be that long, but for what I was trying to go for that draft, it had to be. I thought it was going to be probably maybe at half an hour if that, but it went over an hour, damn near 2 hours to draft. And as of right now, it's my most viewed 2K22 universe mode video of any 2K22 universe mode video. It shows that, and what's crazy to me about it is there was zero wrestling. There was no wrestling. It was just the people getting drafted, their promos, and that's it. And I guess you guys were invested in that story so much it made the most viewed thing on the channel. I just want to say thank you guys. It's just I knew I was betting a lot on that. See, I was like, are people really gonna watch this? There was gonna be no, and I knew there was gonna be no wrestling. That's it, just straight up. And almost 2 hours, 2 hours of just no wrestling, just the draft. And people, you blew my expectations out the water. And for that, I just want to say thank you all. Really, it honestly does mean a lot to me. It shows that, at least for the people who watch, there's some type of investment to this universe mode. And that's all I care about at the end. If you guys are invested in the stories, I'm going to continue to make it. Even if it's one person. As long as you guys are invested, I'm going to continue to make it because I'm invested. If you guys are invested, then I'll be invested. If you're not invested, then why am I could just be playing this offline. It won't, like, I could just be doing that. But if you guys are invested in stories I'm trying to tell, then I will be invested. So I appreciate it. Thank you all. But again, the match order, there's 8 matches on the card, no kickoff. The official match order goes as follows. Is off the top of my head. I could be 100% wrong since I have not looked at this event since I made it all the way back at the end of December. The Raw Tag Team titles will be opening the show. It will be RK Bro versus Imperium for the vacated Raw Tag Team titles. Both of those teams went to the finals. Ironically, they're both SmackDown. Both teams are on the SmackDown brand. So I'll give a behind the scenes reasons for each, like why every match came about. I'm gonna get over this match order real quick so you guys know. Everyone, if you want to pop in during the premiere, now you know the order of when the event is. Also, by the way, the length time of the Great American Bash is gonna be over 3 hours. I'm telling you that right now. Now you probably ask yourself, it's 8 matches, but it's over 3 hours. The reason for that, I can't really say much without spoilers. But part of the reason is because since this was a stadium show and this was like the conclusion of the arc that I was telling, like the post hiatus arc, now everything's back to normal. I wanted to give every match as much time as possible. Now, I'm not saying like match went over the extreme. I just tried to give them as much time as possible. Now, obviously, there'll probably be, since it's 3 hours, you can't imagine just being 3 hours of wrestling. This isn't like New Japan or whatever. You will see without spoiling. That's why I was saying earlier in the show, a lot of this stuff is going to be pushed as Raw exclusive. I mean, a lot of Raw stories are going to be pushed on this event because a lot of people who were on Raw went over to SmackDown. So, yeah, a lot of them went over to SmackDown. So I pretty much have to establish new ground. Not only am I wrapping up stories on this event, I actually have to establish a new direction for all of like the divisions, the stories, because half of the roster left. I remember when people were saying, like, damn, SmackDown got butchered during the draft. I was like, not really. SmackDown took a lot of stars I was using prominently. Perfect example, Finn Balor. He's on SmackDown. He was very prominent on the Raw show, even though he was a SmackDown superstar. Kevin Owens. He had the KO show on my universe mode. He was on SmackDown. Drew McIntyre. Walter. Like The Miz. All of them. Charlotte Flair. One of the top, literally the top woman on the show, even though she's not holding her women's title. Very like the most pushed. If it wasn't for the title, like the most pushed woman on the Raw show, she's on SmackDown. Asuka, she's on SmackDown. Like a lot of superstars that were utilizing on Raw are now on SmackDown. So, and you'll be seeing some new faces, especially thanks to 2K23. But we can get to that in the 2K23 news. So I have to. That's why it's 3 hours for one to give every match as much time as they need to wrap up their stories or to continue their stories at either wrapping up. I'm just gonna let you see it for yourself. And again, to make new ground, new foundation, because a lot of people left. So I have to establish new directions for pretty much everyone. And just a new start because it'll be the season premiere and a lot of stuff's going to happen on that show. So that's the order. Match 1, the Raw Tag Team titles. RK Bro taking on Imperium for the vacated Raw Tag Team titles. Even though they're both SmackDown superstars, I'll get to that in a second. Second match, Charlotte Flair versus Mandy Rose. Charlotte Flair is SmackDown superstar, Mandy Rose the Raw superstar. But that's the second match on the card in that order. The third match is going to be for United States Championship. I had to think about it for a second. Again, I could be 100% wrong. I probably should have looked at the show, but I don't want to personally swear myself because some stuff I forgot. Third match on the card, I am 100% sure of it, is going to be a United States title match between Tyler Bate and Santos Escobar. That's going to be the third match on the show. The fourth match on the show is going to be for the women's tag team titles. The vacated one for the tournament finals, Asuka and Io Shirai versus Carmella and Bianca Belair. Now, this one is very interesting due to the stipulation I have for the women's tag team titles. I'll get to that in each match breakdown. The fifth match is most 100%. I am like 99% sure, if I remember this correctly, it's going to be AJ Styles versus Edge, the dream match. The sixth match is going to be for the Raw Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss defending her title against Becky Lynch. Alexa Bliss is SmackDown superstar, Becky Lynch is Raw superstar. Match 7 is going to be Tommaso Ciampa versus Bobby Lashley, both Raw superstars. And a no-holds-barred match. And then, obviously, the main event, the triple threat match for the WWE Championship, all three Raw superstars, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion Roman Reigns, and the triple threat match for the WWE Championship. So like I said, for the most part, it's all Raw superstar. You have some SmackDown superstars on there, like again, RK Bro and Imperium, which represents the whole Raw Tag Team Championship match. So there goes my Raw Tag Team division. That I don't know why I made it that way. We got Charlotte in that match against Mandy Rose, who is a SmackDown superstar. Who else? The women's tag team titles. You have Asuka, who's a SmackDown superstar, and the rest of the components in that match are all Raw superstars. You have Alexa Bliss, who is a SmackDown superstar, but she's holding the Raw Women's Championship. And then, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts there. My women's division on SmackDown is pretty much fine. It's the Raw Women's division that I'm going to have to focus on, doing. So, just brief rundown for how each match came about, so you can understand the process of this, if you guys were wondering. For the Raw Tag Team Championship match between RK Bro and Imperium, the reason how this match came about, now, honest to God, here's some Universe Mode behind the scenes. When I originally made this pay-per-view, my only goal was to have the United States Championship decided on this show. I had zero intention of having the women's tag team titles and the Raw tag team titles on this show. I was going to have the Raw tag team titles awarded on SummerSlam and the women's tag team titles at I was going to push the women's tag titles as much as I could. I wasn't, well, not on purpose, but I was going to drag that out as much as I could. But, so when I was making this pay-per-view, so the original idea of this pay-per-view, pretty much everything that you see on this pay-per-view minus the Raw tag team titles and the women's tag team titles is pretty much how it was just going to be. It was just when the DLC finally released itself, and I was like, well, shit, I gotta quickly wrap everything up now since I'm starting a whole new brand. I gotta get these titles on the show. Originally, it was just going to be the United States Championship tournament. It's going to be those superstars, and it's going to be the United States Championship tournament. And that was just going to be the only tournament. It's going to be other matches going to replace the Raw Tag Titles, Women's Tag Team titles. But once the DLC came, I was like, okay, I got to push all of this stuff on this card, which is why it became a stadium show in the first place. I was like, okay, I'm having all of these titles awarded here. This cannot be a normal show. So I thought about it. Okay, let's make the stadium show. And luckily, thanks to communications, there was a Great American Bash Stadium. I didn't expect someone to make a Great American Bash Stadium, but here we are. So shout out to the guy who had a stadium, because once for that, I don't think this was going to be a normal pay-per-view, but it made it a lot bigger thanks for someone making a very awesome stadium for it. So I really do appreciate that. Wherever you are definitely appreciated for this event. You'll be able to showcase it live here on YouTube for anyone to watch. But yeah, so that's what happened. For teams, like the way I run my universe mode, so here's another behind the scenes. The way I run my universe mode, I would say it's like a 70-30 thing. I'm like in control. I kind of just, in terms of outcomes, I kind of let the CPU decide it, and I just work around it. Certain narratives have to be pushed, I step in and push that narrative. But in terms of match outcomes, even the big match outcome, I kind of just let the CPU decide. I just work around it. I just feel like that to make my universe mode unique. I'm not saying I don't have any. I make storylines based around how certain outcomes happen. I just work around it. And I'll go into detail for wrestling matches for what I'm talking about. But in terms of that, yeah, I didn't necessarily care who was going to be in the finals. I just needed two teams going to finals. And I mean, it's two great teams, RK Bro and Imperium. So my only issue was when I had this set in stone before I had my draft lineup set in stone, and because of that, they both had to go to SmackDown. And this was way again. I did not have my draft lineup until I finished recording Raw episode 12, and I was like, okay, I make drafts. I was like, well, shit. Someone had to bite the bullet, and unfortunately, my Raw Tag division had to get the hit. RK Bro and Imperium had to go to SmackDown. I had to build up SmackDown Tag Team division. So, yeah, that's why I said for people who kept saying, I was like, SmackDown really got the short and saying, no, they didn't. They completely ruined the Raw Tag Team division. This whole match is SmackDown superstars fighting for the Raw Tag Team title. So, what's going to end up happening, regardless of who is the winner of this match, the Raw Tag Team titles will be immediately vacated. They will be acknowledged as the Raw Tag Team champions. but they will be awarded the SmackDown Tag Team titles on the season premiere of SmackDown. So it's not like just a nothing match. The winners of this match will become the new Raw Tag Team Champions for like 5 minutes. They're going to vacate the titles. They're going to be the new SmackDown Tag. By winning the Raw Tag Team titles, basically, you will become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champion. You would go into season premiere of SmackDown as SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So that's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen for that match. So hope you guys enjoy that. It's going to be the first match on the card to kick off the Great American Bash. And there you have it. For about keyword, I just want to, for those who are watching, that is the first match to kick off the Great American Bash. That's all I'm going to say. You guys got to wait tomorrow for what I mean. It does let you know that is the first match. It doesn't necessarily mean that won't be that doesn't necessarily mean it will be the thing to start the Great American Bash. I'm just saying that was the confirmed first match to start the show. What does that mean? You guys are going to have to watch for yourself to see what happens there. Second match, Charlotte Flair versus Mandy Rose. Now, there is an interesting story behind this because I didn't think... So, from the women, so all of this storyline pretty much stems from the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament. So what I mean by that, in my head, like I said, I have some control over this. I wanted an extra, besides the Raw Women's Championship match, besides women's tag, I want at least one more women's match because I don't want women to just only be in championship matches. I wanted like one personal rivalry to be on this card. So, and some of you guys actually were hit like Caesar Storm, amazing guy, viewer. Man, I really appreciate you. You even hinted at this weeks ago. You was like, there's like some storylines brewing in this women's tag team tournament, and you're 100% right. That was my plan. I picked 3 teams. I was like, I looked at the lineup of teams. I was like, all right, here's the deal. 3 teams I picked. Well, 4. I'm lying. 4. It was 4 teams. Bianca Belair, Carmella. Asuka and Io Shirai. Sasha Banks and Bayley. And I feel like Mandy Rose and Charlotte Flair. I told myself whichever one of these teams loses between the second to last episode before the second to last Raw for the Great American Bash, that's the match I'm going for. That's going to be the split, and that's going to be the match for the Great American Bash. So between those 4 teams, I was building up a friendship through, like you saw through the episodes, there were friendships brewing. First, I the most pushed one, which I wasn't my, like, I didn't know at the time. I record episode by episode basis personally. I have a diagram of how it's going to turn up. I pretty much write like probably real life WWE, probably how Vince McMahon used to do it, by episode basis. I have a idea of how this is going to play out, but in terms of it actually coming to fruition, it's episode by episode basis. So what I mean by that is like, okay, episode 1, we're gonna work on relationship with Charlotte Flair and Mandy Rose. Or even if they lose in this first round, I don't care. That's just to establish that the whole complex relationship between Bianca Belair and Carmella, worked on that in the second one, or I think that was the 3rd episode. Trying to get back together between Sasha Banks and Bayley, that was one. And just Asuka and Io Shirai was already established tag team, and like before he came to WWE, so there was really very little I had to work on with that. So I just told their story through commentary. But even though I was pushing also that team as well, so it wasn't apparent. It was those 4 teams. Asuka and Io Shirai one probably wasn't apparent, but that's what I was pushing. And then as the weeks was going on, I was like, okay, this is like I established all 4 of those teams enough where ironically all 4, now at the time, honest to God, this is when like the tournament bracket just started, I didn't know if any of them were gonna make to the semifinals, and ironically all 4 of them did. I was like, this worked out. The CPU decided that for me. This worked out perfectly. So now if one of them breaks up, at least there's some story behind this. And like I established again, relationship between Bianca Belair and Carmella, these 2 people who hate each other from Backlash. Now they're a team, and they're literally now in the finals. You have Asuka and Io Shirai, who are already a team anyway, and they made it to the finals. Sasha Banks and Bailey, they were trying to get their friendship together, but they couldn't make it to the finals, so that's over. And then Mandy Rose and Charlotte Flair. I did personally. I was rooting for Asuka and Io Shirai to have that singles match for a stadium show, but I was like, this Charlotte Flair and Mandy Rose, this actually makes a lot more sense in hindsight, because I look back at an episode when I was making it. I was like, holy shit, they actually had an interaction. I put them in an interaction the Raw after the Judgment Day, but they never fought each other. So that's why I'm billing this the first time ever match, because technically they never fought each other. And I was like, holy shit, I somehow 6 episodes before I established this match, and they never even fought each other. Amazing. It's absolutely amazing how I was able to do that without even realizing it. So the fact that they were the ones that broke up, I decided to break up, it made perfect sense. I was able to establish this. They already had some history right there. 6 episodes prior. It worked out for me. So I couldn't be glad. I feel like this is one of my, it's not for like the promo. I also want to personally say, for any of you who saw those promos I put out for the past couple of days, I wasn't leaving you guys hanging for ever. In terms of Great American Bash, guys, it took like 2 weeks for it to come out. I put out promos for each one, which will also be presented at the show anyway. Out of all the promos that I made for each match, my 2 personal favorites, just because the music goes with it so perfectly, is the Charlotte Flair Mandy Rose one, and the AJ Styles and Edge one. Just because I think the music goes with perfect. Not saying any of the promos are bad. Like I don't personally like. I like all of them. I have to like what I put out. To a certain extent, I have to. If I didn't think it was good, you would not have been seeing it publicly. So if you see the video publicly, to a certain extent, I liked what I did there. But just personally, if I had to pick 2 of them, it's definitely Charlotte Flair and Mandy Rose, and the Edge and AJ Styles, just because the music just goes so well with the story I was trying to tell there. Me personally, that's just that. So that's the match. I hope you guys enjoy. That's the second match on the card. Hope you enjoy that one. The third match on the card, United States Championship. As I said, this was the only, out of the 3 tournaments, this was the only one that was originally intended for the show before it became a stadium show and became this stack card. The 8 superstars were exactly they were going to be in the first place. I didn't really care who was going to make it to the finals. I was hoping one of them were going to be. Now, the way the United States title was going to go, I had no problem swapping the United States title with the Intercontinental title. I'm personally a Raw guy, and I like even though history shows up until recently, the Intercontinental title was always a Raw title, and the Intercontinental, like the United States title was normally a SmackDown title, and the Intercontinental title was always a Raw title, like during the Ruthless Aggression era, PG era, all that stuff. Like I grew up in those eras, so that's just personally. I just always figured they were just good. They were always meant to be on those specific shows. But I personally, because I was poor when I was a kid, we didn't have that much money. We didn't have cable, so I only was able to watch SmackDown. I grew attached to the United States title. Obviously, I always liked the WWE title as well, but I grew attached to the United States title. One of my personal favorites, just the design and everything, even though the design is updated. I liked as well, and since I'm a Raw guy, I always liked Raw, even though I can only really watch SmackDown. I decided I want the United States title on Raw, but I had no problem swapping it if both Santos Escobar and Tyler Bate was going to go to SmackDown. But luckily, with the draft, they were both remained here on Raw, so the United States title is going to be staying on Raw. So there it is. This is the first time in my universe mode these 2 are facing each other one-on-one, so this should be in a good match. Like I said, I made sure every match had as much time to tell their story. I don't want to go into spoilers, because honestly, I feel like every match no, I'm not gonna say like I feel like personally to a certain extent every match delivered exactly how I wanted to. I'll talk about it in the post show live stream on Monday, which I feel like could have done better personally, but I feel like every match delivered exactly how I wanted to. I'll tell you afterwards which ones were my favorite and which ones were it could have been better, but I can't say anything without spoiling what's gonna happen, so you guys are gonna have to watch tomorrow. So that's the third match on the card. The fourth match on the card, the women's tag team titles, between Asuka and Io Shirai and Bianca Belair and Carmella. Now let me take a sip because this is gonna be a very interesting one. Okay, so the women's tag team titles in my universe mode, I actually try to go with the rule that we attempt to do with women's tag team titles, or at least they still try to do with the women's tag team titles in modern day. They are they can go. This is the only title that can go over both brands, right? These are the only titles that can go over both brands, Raw and SmackDown. So it doesn't matter if you're a Raw superstar, SmackDown superstar. These titles can float over both shows. However, I have a caveat. Depending on if their exclusive pay-per-views align with it, that's gonna be the show that has the most with it. So, for example, let's just hypothetically say Bianca Belair and Carmella wins the match. Not saying that they will, but let's just hypothetically say they win the match. They're both Raw superstars. So now the women's tag titles will be staying on Raw pretty much all the way until Unforgiven, and then after Unforgiven, Bianca Belair and Carmella will be can now jump shift to SmackDown because they have a pay-per-view coming up. So I pretty much try to base the women's tag team titles around like the pay-per-views. Like their shows are gonna be on based on their pay-per-view. So like I said, if Bianca Belair and Carmella wins, for example, they're both Raw superstars. They're pretty much be staying on Raw for about a good month or two before they can also now go to SmackDown. They'll still be on Raw, but they can now be on SmackDown present as well. The reason why I'm doing that, I'm trying to like establish storylines for the women's tag teams. So the best way to do that is to have them stay on one brand for a long amount of time to establish certain teams and whatnot, and then they can float over to the next brand. By that point, I should have established some type of teams on the other brand and vice versa. Now, what makes things interesting is because the other team, Asuka and Shirai, one's Raw and one's SmackDown. So the rule I made for myself, if that were to ever happen, before this women's tag touring became a thing, I was like, if for some weird reason one superstar is from one brand, other one another brand, they can literally be on both shows at the same exact time. So every week you see them on both shows. As long as they don't lose the title. Once they lose the title, that there is no rematch clause because they're both on separate brands. If they weren't on separate brands, they could possibly get a rematch clause. But since they're both on separate brands, that's it. So I was like, okay. The fact that Asuka and Io Shirai stays on Raw, Asuka is on SmackDown, that's going to make this match interesting. So if they win the titles, you can expect women's tag team titles on both shows. So it is what it is with that one. So I guess you guys have to see what happens there. For that match, that would be the fourth match on the card. The fifth match on the card is AJ Styles versus Edge. Now... Honestly, this is more due to the fact that because of the stadium show, I need like another marquee match besides the WWE Championship and Raw Women's Championship. I need like another marquee match we could look forward to. I was like, who am I doing absolutely nothing with at the time? Oh shit, I have Edge on my roster that I put on there. Whatever. Last time I saw him, he lost to Cedric Alexander in a random Raw match, like on episode 3. Never been seen since then. Cause I was like, oh man, I feel proud of myself. They're making Edge lose Cedric Alexander. Never Cedric Alexander. I'm just making him lose there, and I just kept him off TV. I had nothing for him. Kept him off TV. Kept him off my universe mode. I had nothing for him. AJ Styles AJ Styles. I had nothing for AJ Styles at all. For like since episode 3, neither of them. I had nothing for them. And because I knew, like, see, this was the problem. And this was part of the problem. Like, I wanted this brand split to happen eventually because some of these stars, it's like, the roster's already bloated with superstars from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and NXT UK. I'm going to have to split this eventually. And I was like, okay, we need a good match. These two aren't absolutely doing nothing. Let me just put them into a feud. And that's how it came about. That's pretty much it. I tried to tell. Now, obviously, these two superstars actually feud in real life at WrestleMania. I tried to tell a different story where one was quite obvious. Like in the real life, obviously, Edge was the heel and AJ Styles was the face. You saw what happened with Judgment Day and blah, blah, blah. I tried to tell the story a tad bit differently where both of them are pretty much faces. It's up to the viewer to decide who's right and who's wrong. I made AJ Styles do certain things that would dictate him as a heel. I made Edge do things that would dictate him as a heel. But at the end of the day, they're both faces. They just want respect from each other. And it was up to the viewer to decide whether who was... So, just for the record, both of them are faces. Or in my universe mode, just for the record, if you guys were confused. They're both faces. So, it was just... I gave it pretty much up to the viewer who was right and who was wrong in this match, and obviously this is going to blow off at the Great American Bash. That's the dream match there. I think the story I told, I think it worked out because there was a lot of twists and turns. Like you saw, Edge was challenged for the WWE Championship against Roman Reigns, even though Roman Reigns was dealing with Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. That's one thing I like to do in my universe. I try to intertwine storylines together to make it a lot more unique, and I feel like that worked out perfectly. So yeah, like I said, also that my second favorite promo video I made was Edge and AJ Styles, just because the music went so well with it. So there's that. I hope you guys enjoy that match. The next match will be the Raw Women's Championship match between Becky Lynch and Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss, who is a SmackDown superstar. Now, this match was, like I said, I do plan it to an extent. This match was only one of two matches that were planned way in advance. Like, this was going to be the match no matter what, right? It was this one and the WWE Championship match. These were the only two matches. Because like, again, behind the scenes, they were in universe mode. When I tried to make universe mode, like a pay-per-view, try to build a pay-per-view, I had to have one confirmed match already set in stone. We got to get there, and then one women's match. One for the men's, one for the women's. I don't care if it's for a title. I need one marquee match already set in stone. And then I just work around it, building the card. This match for women's was just set in stone already from the rip. It was going to be planned. Once Alexa Bliss won that title at Backlash and that ladder match, I was like, all right, the direction here is Becky Lynch. The only thing I did not anticipate at that time making this was putting Alexa Bliss on the SmackDown side, which makes this match way more interesting than what I originally intended it to be. The original story was simply Becky Lynch is finally getting that Raw Women's Championship match that she's supposed to get 2 years ago before the hiatus happened, which stopped everything for 2 years. So but now there's a new layer to this. Alexa Bliss is a SmackDown superstar holding the Raw Women's Championship, so it kind of is a must-win situation for Becky Lynch, because if she doesn't win, the Raw Women's title is pretty much going to be on SmackDown. And just like, I mean, I don't know how that situation works, because unlike the Raw Tag Team titles, they're already vacated. We can vacate them again. Alexa Bliss is 100% the undisputed Raw Women's Champion. So even if she wins the match, she could be holding double titles as Raw and SmackDown. Like, if she does win this match, let me confirm that. If she does win this match, she will still be the Raw Women's Champion. She'll be going into SmackDown as the new SmackDown Women's Champion. So she'll be holding both titles. You have to wait tomorrow to find out. But just not at the time realizing I'm putting Alexa Bliss on SmackDown made this layer a lot more interesting of this match. So I hope you guys look forward to that one as well. The seventh match on the card is Tommaso Ciampa versus Bobby Lashley, no holds barred. Now, this is the only match, Universal behind the scenes, that wasn't originally intended to be on the card. I had another match penciled in for this card, but looking at the card, I was like, you know what? This match might as well just be on the card instead. So, as you like, I was building a feud, like the feud between Bobby Lashley and Ciampa. Like, I was building that since the day after Backlash. They were gonna have the blow off match on the final Raw before the Great American match. They were gonna have that no holds bars match, but then my original planned match, but before it got replaced by Bobby Lashley and Tommaso Ciampa, was the Usos versus the Mysterios. I was building that up behind, like in the background as well in Raw. Originally, I wanted this to end in a steel cage match at the Great American Bash, because Great American Bash is usually known for like their steel cage matches, like back in the WCW days. I was like, all right, there's no titles on the line here. Just neither of them won the tournament. They both got out in the first round. Ironically, thanks to RK Bro and Legado del Fantasma. I figured, all right, I'll throw them a bone. They will both just be in a steel cage match. That was my original plan. However, re-looking at the card, I did not want 3 tag team matches on the pay-per-view. Not because I don't like tag team matches. It was just part of the reason was because there was no tag team. Like, we were establishing the tag team champions for both the men's and the women's on this card. I didn't want another tag team match that served like there was no purpose at the time. So I just figured, yeah, it just made more sense to bump that to Raw, to the final Raw before the Great American Bash, and push this to the Great American Bash in the end. And that's why I was like, okay, there's no need for a steel cage match. We'll just do a no disqualification tornado tag match, which I feel like it went well. I personally I enjoyed how that outcome went. If you guys couldn't tell by the draft, Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio aren't a tag team anymore. So Rey's gonna be a single star moving forward. So it's Dominic. I decided to split them up because I have way too many tag teams on Raw. Even though Raw is gonna get hit tomorrow by not having established Raw tag team champions, since both teams in this match are SmackDown superstars, at the very least they have more than enough teams. So I have like the Mysterios, there's no point, and the Usos were going to SmackDown anyway. So yeah, that's what happened. I like the Bobby Lashley WrestleMania story because there's a layer there. For example, Tommaso Ciampa, surprisingly, has never lost in my universe mode. So that's the story going on right there with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's tried twice. Once on main event and second on Raw. So third time's a charm, maybe. This time it's no holds barred. So there's no disqualification, no count outs. Anything can be used. So Tommaso Ciampa undefeated streak might come to an end, or it might not. You guys have to watch. So I felt as though with that build and with that layer in the story, I felt as though I was like, all right, this is justifiably can be put on the card as well. It was originally a tag team match, but simply because I did not want 3 tag team matches with 2 of them having championship match and one is just, especially with no championship titles established at that time. If this was pushed by a month, then the Usos and the Mysterio, so they were still both on Raw, would have been on the SummerSlam card. But I was like, you know what? There's too many tag team matches, especially with no established tag team champions for either men's or women's. It would be pointless. So I bumped that to the Raw before Great American Bash as a huge match, and the Bobby Lashley Tommaso Ciampa match was pushed to Great American Bash. So that's it was still, had it not, the Ciampa versus Lashley was still gonna be no holds bars on Raw, but luckily for them, I decided to switch plans at the last. Plans change, as a famous person once said. Plans change. So I just thought it just made a lot more sense to put on the pay-per-view. I feel as though they earned it based on the storytelling between those two. They're holding it down like one of those sleeper stories that were going on in the background between all these other stories that were happening with the tournament, WWE Championship, Raw Women's Championship, Flair and Mandy Rose, like all that good stuff. Edge and Styles, I thought this was one of those sleeper feuds that were just happening in the background. I think you guys will enjoy this match at the Great American Bash. And now we come to the big one. The WWE Championship Triple Threat match. Like I said, I tend to have at least one match for the women's and one match for the men's established before. And as you see with the pay-per-view poster and thumbnail, Brock Lesnar was the main person on. They're going to be in this. Well, because he was going to be on this show regardless if it was going to be a stand show. That was my plan. Ever since Backlash was my plan. Whether it's going to be a triple threat match resulted into the Backlash outcome in the Raw before that. So my original plan was whoever going to win between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins was going to face Brock Lesnar at the Great American Bash. Whether this was a stadium show or not at the time didn't matter. Brock Lesnar was going to be on the show. That was always the plan. That finish at Backlash, that was going to be planned. I didn't care who was champion. Brock Lesnar was just going to return there to establish that he's back. Now the Raw after Great Backlash was what made this triple threat match. That was never the plan. It was supposed to be a just one-on-one match. That was never the plan. The fact that Roman Reigns won the title back a day later, I was like, oh shit, I can't F over Seth Rollins like that. So I was like, all right, Roman is the champion now, but Seth Rollins technically has a rematch clause. Because I still have rematch clauses exist in my universe. I know they don't do that rematch clause anymore, but I feel like rematch clauses are just deserved. Okay, if you can beat him twice, okay, you're the undisputed champion. So I was like, okay, Seth Rollins has to have a rematch. But then Brock Lesnar's involved, and Brock Lesnar, in my universe mode continuity since 2K18, he never lost Universal Championship, and that, mind you, is WWE Championship here on Raw. Now, I was like, this is a perfect triple threat, because originally at SummerSlam 2 years ago, it was supposed to be Brock and Seth Universal title. So this makes perfect sense now. Let me readjust my camera. There we go. I figured this was a perfect match now, so I just really appreciate. It's just worked out, and I think the story, it was like one of the best stories I told. There's so many layers here. You had situation between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Can you trust Paul Heyman? Brock Lesnar firing Paul Heyman. You have the sleeper that everyone's keep annoying. I mean, let's ignoring Seth Rollins because this feud seems like it's Roman and Brock. No, Seth Rollins involved too. So I liked where this go. This is a main event Rory match, especially. I had to amp it up a little in storytelling because this was going to be a stadium show. So I personally enjoy that. I personally enjoy that final Raw before Great American Bash, the face to face that I did. I personally enjoyed it. One of the best things. I had a fun time making it. Really, I did. Everything. It paid off perfectly, and the reaction to what you guys said on there worked out too. So I knew it was. I was like, okay, I did something right there. I wanted it to hit home, and it really did. So I left it where, okay, any of these three superstars could win this match. So it is what it is. With the three, all three of them are Raw superstars now. Universal mode behind the scenes. I was debating on either putting Roman or Seth on SmackDown, but I was like, you know what? We're just gonna have all three of them on Raw. Why not? I didn't want the Great American Bash main event to have SmackDown superstar because this is a Raw exclusive pay-per-view. I was like, fuck it, all three of them stays on Raw. So there it is. What it is. Like I said, SmackDown's not butchered. You'll see a season premiere of SmackDown. It's gonna be unique. Season premiere of SmackDown will definitely tell you unique. So is season premiere of Raw. It's definitely going to be unique, and it's definitely going to be something. So you guys have that to look forward to. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Like I said, that's the official match order. I'll run down it one more time just in a second. I just want to pull up what the hell I was supposed to talk about next. So just give me one moment before I lose my mind. Yeah, so just quick match order for you guys in case you forgot. It will be the first match. Keyword first match, as it reads the first thing. You guys have to wait to see tomorrow. It will be the Raw Tag Team Championship match, followed by Charlotte Flair and Mandy Rose, followed by the United States Championship match, the Women's Tag Team Championship match, AJ Styles versus Edge, the Raw Women's Championship, Tommaso Ciampa and Bobby Lashley, and finally the Triple Threat WWE Championship main event. So I'm really proud of this card. I just hope you guys, that's all I can say. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this delivers. I know you guys wait over a month for this after the draft. I just hope it meets your expectations. That's all I can say. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that. So now, since we got that part of the Great American Bash already established, so let's just talk about 2K23, right? Man, oh man. Because ironically, 2K23 wasn't announced until after I took my short break on long form content with the draft. That's when they finally, I mean, obviously 2K23 was going to come out regardless, but they officially announced it, I think like a week before the Royal Rumble. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but it feels like it is, called the craziness that's been happening. So 2K23 is coming out. John Cena is the cover superstar. He had this weird controversy of these two random idiots on Twitter pretend like they knew like information, because one was saying, oh, it's the Edge showcase, and when the cover showed them that it wasn't, they was like, no, it's still Edge. John Cena's just a cover superstar. It's still Edge. I was like, this is so insane. Like, bro, y'all are wrong. Y'all are liars. We all know you're liars. And obviously, once it was fully revealed this is John Cena showcase, one of them deleted their account. The other one is still doing some crazy stuff on their Twitter live streaming space or whatever. So there's that. Have fun with that, dude. But yeah, it's 2K23. It's obviously, it's not like some big explosion like 2K22 was from the time 2K22. We all knew 2K23 was pretty much just going to be a 2K22.5. Which is why I have a... See, 2K22 shows that I feel like WWE games should not be a yearly cycle, because the graphical difference between 2K20 and 2K22 is just it's just night and day. It's also in terms of the content, how everything is presented. See what they can do in 2.5 in 2 years. You saw what they were able to put out, new modes, new like whatever. But you see what they can only do with only a year. They can only add minor stuff, which is not an issue because we have great WWE games / WWE 2K games that happen in a yearly basis. Like God, Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth, SmackDown versus Raw, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, amazing, 12, absolutely amazing, 13 was all right, 14. People consider one of the greatest 2K games, even though ironically it was still THQ's game. 2K didn't really work on it until 2K15. 2K15, it was all right, even though it was butchered as hell in terms of content. 2K16, can't complain. 2K17, 2K18, a little up, thumbs up. 2K19, the GOAT, because 2K20 was dog shit. And 2K22 with fully under 2K, without Ukes anymore, with their visual concept. It was a great game for what it was. But now 2K23, obviously it looks identical to 2K22, minus obviously a graphical update. We can talk about the modes real quick, very briefly, because for some reason we're gonna get to that in just a brief moment. I just have to say this, 2K. I know you're not watching this stream, obviously. I'm not one of you 2K next makers, but by God, your marketing is dog shit. I'm sorry. Maybe that might get me out of becoming a 2K next maker. I just have to say your marketing is absolutely dog shit. And what I mean by that is we are literally, so for those who don't know, 2K23 comes out March 17th. Although, you know, the deluxe edition is March 14th. So I bought the deluxe edition, special edition, because I'm a mark. By going by that, we literally, no exaggeration, we are less than a month away. So if you do the math here for a second, just quick math. We are 24 days away before the release of 2K23 in terms of the deluxe edition. So a little over 3 weeks. And at this very moment, at this current live stream, right, we know only the showcase mode. We know nothing about My Rise. We know nothing about My GM. We know nothing about the supposed updated universe mode. And we know nothing about the new online My Faction. It's only 3 weeks away. I mean, y'all can say what y'all want about 2K. I mean, THQ when they had it and like Ukes. But at least their marketing was amazing. We knew stuff months before it came out. Like I'll talk about more in post show how like I don't want this live stream to go any longer than it has to. We could just talk about how. But yeah, I'm probably gonna save that for the post show after the Great American Bash results and whatnot. Yeah, their marketing is at least y'all can say whether their games compared to 2K are like better or worse. At the end of the day, their marketing, you know, the thing that they have to use to sell the games, besides us hardcore fans, they're going to buy it in a year regardless because we're just marks. At least their marketing was on point. I was never not like excited, like, because every day there was something new, something, even if it was like just something. I know 2K compared to, I will say this, 2K's 23 market compared to 2K22 is like apples and oranges, but that's being very generous. It was a very low bar because 2K22's marketing was absolute dog shit. It wasn't really their fault because they had one release date and then they pushed it an extra 3 months, which made the marketing even terrible because all the stuff they had for a 3-month window, they had to expand to 6 months. And that's why the marketing was so terrible. This time they announced in January. So y'all have less than a 2-month window, 60 days essentially. And we still know absolutely nothing about the game. Now, obviously, I could probably eat my words come Monday. But as of this moment, here's what we know. And like I said, I'll go more into 2K23 in terms of this news. I'll talk about 2K22 Universe Mode right here on the stream. But we'll say that for the post show on Monday with the Great American Bash press conference. We know John Cena's cover star. Cool. We know War Games in the game. Amazing. We know the Survivor Series War Game Arena is in the ring. I mean, in the arena as well, which I have to give you applause. I know in terms of game development, the mere fact you was able to put that in there with the close window that y'all had is absolutely amazing. So I give you guys props for that. You didn't have Survivor Series War Game in there. Great. The showcase is a different showcase than before. Unlike we're playing as a superstar, which I personally had no problem with. I didn't realize it was that much of a complaint playing as the same superstars over and over again. I had perfectly no fine with that. But at least y'all take a different direction with John Cena. He lost his best matches against these superstars, so that I were playing as a different superstar every time. I didn't know where this complaint. Maybe I live in a bubble. I never had an issue playing as the same superstar over and over again because it's their story. That'd be like complaining of, like, in Dragon Ball Z, you're only playing as Goku, even though it's his story. Like, what? I can understand, like, some of the times when he lost the battles or whatever. But that was like if you're playing Dragon Ball Z, for example, that'd be like complaining you're playing as Goku and you should have been playing as Raditz. Like, what? It's Goku's story. This is John Cena's story. It's 20-year story. Like, why would you not want to play as John Cena? But, oh shit, I went out of sync. So you guys don't know, I have a cam link I'm using. Before, when I was on Twitch, if you follow me on Twitch, let me reset this. God damn it. There you go. If you follow me on Twitch, I was using a Elgato 1080p 60 frames per second webcam. Apparently it was a 4K one. But I decided, you know what? I have been having my camera sit in dust for years. I'll just buy a cam link so I can have it be broadcast in 4K. So even though this video is in 1080p, my camera quality is actually in 4K. So I'm probably moving 30 frames per second, because that's all 4K can put out, especially with this camera. But the video should be in 60 frames. But yeah. So just brief thing. I know that was nothing, but yeah. I never saw the complaint, but like I said, I never saw a complaint with Showcase. I didn't think it was an issue. I had no problem playing as Rey Mysterio through all his mechas, Rey Mysterio's story. If I didn't want to play Rey Mysterio, I just wouldn't play his Showcase. But I didn't realize with that much complaints playing the same superstar. I didn't hear these complaints back in 2018. No, 2K19 with Darren Bryan's story, or 2K16 with Stone Cold's story. Like, I never heard any complaints with that. It is what it is, I guess. Like, it is what it is. Like, I guess, I mean, it's a different route because this feels unique. This reminds me actually of the Attitude Era mode of WWE 13, one of the best things they did. I wish we can go back to something like that. I feel like 2K's approach to it will be 10 times better since they have that slingshot technology, so show real footage with the Attitude Era mode. So if they could like redo the Attitude Era and like do it a lot longer under 2K, I feel like it would be absolutely amazing. But that's just me personally. So yeah, like I said, but that's besides. I talk about the showcase so much because that's all we really know. War Games obviously is a match type, which is great. The one thing we don't know is in universe mode. I highly doubt that. Or is it one of those situations like the Elimination Chamber where it's only available if you play Elimination Chamber, or like the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, or like we was able to buy, thankfully, people in the community were able to bypass that, so you can actually have the Elimination Chamber outside the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which is great because it works out for me. I already have an idea what I'm going to do with the Elimination Chamber in my universe mode. But besides that, yeah, that's all we know. We know nothing about My Rise, the main career mode, which, again, it was My Rise. We know nothing about that. We know nothing about My Fact with the new online. We know nothing about My GM, which is supposedly new updates. And we know nothing about Universe Mode, which is supposed biggest update, which they've been touting as one of the sleeper hits, is their new rework story design, which we're about to talk. I can go into more detail about each mode, but in terms of personally, my WWE 2K23 Universe Mode, and will I debut it alongside of it, that depends on really the DLC, because we know the roster. This roster at least for 2K23. And you saw my draft, right? Now, honest to God, there's one person I'm shocked that's on this, because I didn't think he was going to be in the game at all since he wasn't in this year. Noam Dar. Holy shit. I did not realize Noam Dar was going to be... That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to talk about it any further. Noam Dar on the game. Holy shit. I was not expecting that. So kudos 2K. You saved my ass on that one. So that might be able to push my universe mode up slightly, so can't complain about that. But other than that, yeah, it depends on DLC basically and the release date of it. I need to see it because there's certain superstars, for example. I can't. I can't say anything. See, if I say anything, it's kind of gonna spoil what might or might not happen at the Great American Bash. I might have to save all this up for the post show because I can't. If I say a certain like superstar's name, and I gotta be careful with my words here. I'm smart man. I'm gonna do hypotheticals. We're gonna do hypotheticals for example. So let's just say Roman Reigns is not on this. Now, obviously, this is keep in mind Roman Reigns is obviously on this on the game. But let's just pretend like Roman Reigns wasn't on this on WWE 2K23. I'm gonna now have to wait until he is on disc. If they announce him as DLC, then I know I don't have to worry about going community creations, find his create superstar. I'm just gonna have to wait for his model whenever they decide to release DLC of him to come out, and we'll go about it from there. However, if he isn't on this, I mean, if he's not on DLC either, then that makes my life easy. I can just gotta wait till a good call. I mean, create a wrestler comes out on him, then I'll just download it, and then that'll be one extra superstar I have to wait for. So yeah, Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns is not in 2K23 on disc, then we might have to wait a little. Now, obviously, again, I had to be in hypothetical. I can't say certain superstars' name because I know in the back of my head, holy shit, this might may or may not spoil some things. I have to use Roman Reigns as an example because obviously we know Roman Reigns is on Roman Reigns is obviously on disc. So if that analogy didn't make any sense, or what I was trying to do didn't make any sense to you guys, I apologize. I didn't want to say a superstar's name that may or may not have something to do with my universe mode after the Great American Bash. So I know Roman Reigns is a good cop out because obviously Roman Reigns is already in the game. But like there's certain superstars that are not on disc that are already, they have a presence in my universe mode. Whether they're on disc, like a lot of them aren't on disc. So I have to wait if they're gonna be DLC. I need information on the DLC. If they give me information on DLC, which they have to, normally they do before the game comes out, like a day or two. I think last week it got leaked the week before the game came out, and the day before the game came out, they decided to reveal the DLC. It's absolutely amazing. Like I said, 2K year mark. You expect, like, could you imagine a company that they expect you to buy either a deluxe edition or season pass of a game, and you don't even tell you what the season pass consists of until the day before the game came out, but you expect me to buy the season pass? What sense does that make? THQ was never like this. Like, oh my god. We knew DLC characters before the game came out, and 2K, you guys used to do this before. I don't know what switched with 2K22, which makes me believe that to a certain extent, Ukes, the developers, they had some type of involvement with it, because they were able to release that stuff like weeks before the game came out. But with you guys, it's ridiculous. Like I said, I'm gonna go more in detail what I hate about 2K marketing, give some examples of how outrageous their marketing is for this game is, and just show like past examples of WWE games of how their marketing will, like, you could, it would be like 90 day. We'll go over that during the post show. I decided I was gonna do this on this conference, but I don't want to be too long. But yeah, it's just bad 2K. That's all I'm gonna say. Bad 2K. It's ridiculous how y'all have less than 2 months to get, and y'all had less than 2 months when y'all announced it during War Round Weekend. We are now officially almost a little over 3 weeks away for the game. By the time Monday hits, it'll be 3 weeks exactly before the game comes out, and we only know one mode. Y'all are touting so you have Showcase, My GM, My Faction, My Rise, and Universe mode. 5 game modes. And less than 3 weeks before the game comes out, we only have concrete information on one. That's insane. You would have thought for the 6 weeks, no, my bad, the 8 weeks that y'all had, y'all could announce a new game every week. That we are literally 3 weeks away, and we only know one game off the 5. That's it. You expect me to pre-order a game? Now, obviously, I pre-order a game day one when y'all announce because I'm a mark. But it's like, to the casual person, do you really expect them to pre-order a game they know nothing about? Like, the roster is going to sell me a game. I don't give a fuck about the roster. That's what community creation is for. Like, it is what it is. It's like, I don't care about the roster. I care about the roster to a certain extent. If I give a percentage, I'll say it's about 60. But the other 40%, like, you gotta give me information with the fucking game. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you're lucky I'm like a hardcore fan, but like, Jesus, this was a regular. If you expect like a new person to buy the game, especially now with AEW Fight Forever coming out as a potential, very strong words on potential, like rival of your WWE games, like, y'all gotta give me something. Shit, like, fuck. But yeah, there's that. We'll talk about 2K and their horrible marketing on Monday. Maybe they might be able to change my mind on Monday. Hopefully something new comes out of that. But yeah. So besides that, let's talk about one more final segment, then we'll wrap things up with this press conference for those who are watching on demand. Like I said, I should have broken it up in segments. Future live streams and channel update. So you guys, you guys might like these good news of how this channel is going moving forward. So in terms of live streams, so as you know, YouTube has updated their website like every month, whether it's good or bad. They update the website every month. The one thing I really appreciate that they did, I had to give them props for, is they updated it so they separated the content into three. Well, 4 if you count community posts. They have the long form content, so just under videos. They have the shorts, but thank God, because it was so annoying having shorts and videos under the same feed. Then you have live streams, so you have 3 different feeds. So I really appreciate that. Very organized, and it just makes everything, the world go round and round and round. So I really appreciate them doing that. So my goal, I like doing live streams on Twitch, like having a live interaction with you guys. So my goal is once every week, starting this week, to have at least 1 live stream. It's probably going to be focused on 2K22. Or if you guys want to shoot the shit, it is what it is. Or hear this crazy man ramble about why 2K marketing sucks every week, then by all means, before 2K23 comes out. I still have one type of live stream review. It doesn't have to be necessarily me like 2K23, I'll let you guys decide every week when I'm going to put out a poll of what you guys want to see for that live stream. It could be anything. So that's my plan. At least maybe one. If you guys really like live stream, you could put more to one. But I'm trying to balance live streaming, shorts, and making universe mode content. I'm trying to balance. I think the best way to do it is at least having, as of right now, 1 live stream week. I think that's more than enough to get me back to the live stream guru on YouTube. Because obviously I'm more of a long form. Most of my content is long form, but to get back into the live stream, you gotta diversify. Is the great DSP gaming, but that's another conversation for another time. He's one of his buzzwords for a second. You gotta diversify, which is something that he doesn't do, but that's another story. Your stuff. So that's my goal, at least 1 live stream a week, just to ease back into it. So next week's live stream, which will be technically Monday, I know it's only like a 2-day difference, will be the poster. That'll be that live stream for the week. Now the following week will probably be, so let me look at this real quick, this calendar. So next week we're gonna do that. So we have it'll be potentially 2 live streams of probably 2K22 related stuff, and then the third 3 weeks later, well, the next 2 weeks after. So but if you don't count next week, the week of the 26th and the week of March 5th, we're probably gonna be 2K22 related live streams, which I will go over probably more during the post show with talk about. But then that week of the 12th, obviously 2K23 will already be out, so we'll probably do a live stream related to 2K23. It won't be universe mode. That'll be the only caveat. We probably won't stream universe mode. The cinematic universe mode, that's impossible. We'll probably do like a superstar mode, because I think the very brief information that we know about universe mode, thank you 2K, the very brief information we know about universe mode is, besides the supposed godlike story, updated revamped story system, which it sounds good, but I'd like to personally see it in action, which I'll get into more on Monday's post show, so I get all my information about that. It would be nice if we knew more. Hopefully by Monday you give us some details of that. They still have Superstar mode, which I feel like Superstar mode of 2K22, if it had this reworked story system, quote unquote, in this year's game, I feel like everyone would play Superstar mode, because it sounds amazing. from what they're explaining, but I like to personally, like, saying something and actually seeing it in action is two different things, clearly. So it sounds amazing. And this was, if it was personally in 2K22, I think I would probably been playing more Superstar mode than I did regular Universe mode. But it sounds amazing. Like, we shall see. So like I said, like, last year could be anything from, like, so if you guys want to see a Universal mode last, you'd probably be going to Superstar mode, which would make it a lot more interesting, because I've seen a lot of people do that. Or we can go through My Rise. I never played My Rise. I played it briefly on my Twitch stream. We went to NXT, but I really haven't tackled My Rise that much. We could do the showcase if you guys want to see my perspective from it. Maybe what we could do, my faction, my GM, even though my faction, I don't know what crack they were smoking. This year, my faction, you make a microtransaction game, not online, and you expect people to put money into that. Are you on crack, 2K? Like, I don't know what department when they made my faction, what's even put the icing on top. They had tires in my faction in 2K22. I'm not getting drunk off this latte. They had freaking alternate, not only alternate tires, actually different models of superstars locked into my faction, but they refused to release in the main game because apparently they're a completely different department that's unrelated to the actual main game, which is why it updates on its own by itself. To a certain extent, I understand, but the audacity of them to have alternate tires of superstars that updated looks. For example, they had an updated Edge, updated Rhea Ripley, that WrestleMania tires for Seth Rollins and whatnot, locked into my faction. The only reason why we got it is thankfully there are people in the 2K community that know what they're doing. They would get those tires out of that and put it into the main game for us. It's community creation. Only thing sucks is that they serve as alternate tires. But for example, God's sake, they had a alternate tire Mandy Rose, an updated Mandy Rose with black hair in the goddamn my faction. They had a black hair Mandy Rose, but for some weird fucking reason, they thought it was a smart idea to keep her in my faction, not put her in. Like, what? What crack are y'all smoking, 2K? Like, oh my god, what crack were y'all smoking? It was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe my eyes when I realized, like, there was a alternate version of Mandy Rose, and these people have the audacity to keep them under my faction. It's not even multiplayer. You can't even go online with it. It's all single player. In what universe you think I'm gonna spend $100 in virtual currency in a single player game that's offline? It means absolutely nothing. Well, the whole thing means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, but that's beside the point. At least now online, I have an incentive to somewhat spend money, but there was no way I was sinking any money into my faction. Now, I know there's some idiots that did do it because guess what? My faction's back because they obviously made bank on that for them to justify coming back this year, but at least they had 2 brain cells to put online capability. If they had online capability once again in my faction, I would have told them to kick the can with that game mode. Now I'm going to give every game mode a chance. Like before, I only gave every game mode but my faction. Honest to God, I only go into my faction just to get those daily rewards, and I do absolutely nothing with it. Nothing. But now I actually have a reason to go into my faction every day and do something because there's actually online. Was it that hard to, like, I get it. It was a new game mode entirely that no one actually asked for it, ironically. But now we realize, oh my god, you can put updated attires in there. An updated character model. Not only attires, like the clothing, but actual new character model. Rhea Ripley had black hair. Mandy Rose had her non-blonde hair in there. And y'all locked it to freaking my faction, which is not even online. And we had to download via community creations. Weird. Wild. 2K are wild people. We'll go over that during the post show. I have more time to talk about that since the Great American Bash will be over tomorrow, and then Monday we can talk about that. But in terms of channel update, like I said, live streaming, we'll try to do that once a week. Well, we will. I'm not trying. I will. I'm determined to do that. Now, in terms of everything else on the channel, now you guys know, besides Universe Mode, I try to diversify a little bit with other stuff, because I thought maybe you guys wanted to see something different. So I was like, you know what? Spider-Man's in my Steam account. I always wanted to play that game anyway, whether it was on YouTube or not. I just wanted to play it because Spider-Man. And Yu-Gi-Oh! So I was like, you know what? I gave some polls. You guys voted for that. I decided that we'd do some 4K playthroughs of Spider-Man Remastered and Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's See Duels. I enjoyed those playthroughs. I thought it was good. You guys seemed to like it for the people who watched it. But luckily, in November, to the graces of God, YouTube decided to release something in their YouTube Studio beta app, which actually tells you, finally, it's something called like their research tab. And what it actually does is pretty much a godsend for all YouTube creators. It actually tells you the exact search terms and videos of what your viewers are watching without them telling you. So now I know exactly, based on people who watch my channel, I know exactly what you guys are searching and what you guys are actually watching without me actually having to ask you guys. So because of that, looking through it, it's quite obvious you guys only watch wrestling stuff, which is not a problem because I love wrestling. So now I know to make, if I want to make additional content outside of universe mode to supplement it, I can now do that. And that's exactly what I did, which is part of the reason why it took me so long to come back, because I was creating brand new stuff that had nothing to do with like, so to tell you right now, as of this moment, Spider-Man, if you guys like Spider-Man Remastered and you go see those are all put on indefinite hiatus until further notice. So episode 12 of each of those playthroughs, that was it. That's all I recorded. I have nothing left of those. I'm not holding back on footage. That's all I have left. In terms of Power Rangers and Kamen Rider, there's nothing in this deck. Power Rangers, there is a Lightning Collection review of the Lunar Wolf Ranger, which I teased a little bit back, way back on my community channel page. Before this research came out, I already had that recorded and edited. It was already on my channel. It was just sitting there. I was waiting for it to be released. I was going to release it in this batch. Anyway, so besides that, an upcoming review and unboxing of the Lunar Wolf Ranger Lightning Collection, that'll be the only Power Ranger related video until further notice. If you guys want to tell me like, hey, you want to see that stuff, then I'll put that in the tube. What is it? In the pipe, down the pipe, eventually. But right now, thank God, YouTube came out with a research tool that tells me exactly what you guys are looking up without me having to ask you guys. So thankfully, I knew make some new content. So there's a video, well, there's a couple videos that you'll be seeing down the line beside universe mode that you guys might be interested in looking at. I won't spoil it. So they're very unique, different videos. So I hope you guys enjoy those, and those will be type of content you see in terms of long form videos as well as shorts. In terms of shorts, I like what I'm doing right now. Going back to the history of my channel, when I first started doing shorts, I decided, I was like, you know, let me just take snippets of what I'm currently doing, putting in shorts, and it worked out great. But then I decided, you know, let me go all the way back to 2012. For those who don't know, I've been doing this YouTube channel thing since 2012. Doesn't look like it by my subscriber count, but it is what it is. I've been on and off on YouTube. But I decided to go all the way back from 2012 and bring back stuff, because obviously people who are watching now was not back in my channel in 2012. So it's like, see little snippets of shorts. What I used to do 2012, it looked like the dog shit videos. It has worked out absolutely amazing on this channel. So I'm going to continue to do that. We're going to go through the whole history of my channel from 2012 to present day. Eventually, we'll get to present day, because as of, I can tell you right now, based on the footage I'm looking at, we're at 2014. So we're in the 2 to 3 months I've been doing these shorts. When I started doing these shorts, like October, in the 4 months I've been doing these shorts, we went through 2 years of my content already. But that's how quickly I can blow out these shorts content. So in terms of the shorts, so the video feeds you can expect, obviously, besides universe mode stuff, some other special videos that I don't want to talk, like based off of what you guys look at in the based per my keyword per my research tab, based on what you guys look at and the videos you look at, videos are based around it. So you're going to see some different videos obviously related to wrestling, since most of this keywords I'm looking at are wrestling based on what you guys look at. So you're going to see some unique stuff, and some of them has nothing to do with 2K at all, just wrestling related. So like I said, you guys, hopefully you're going to enjoy that. And one of those videos are definitely in this batch that I'm doing of this 30 videos, and then you're going to see a lot more in the next batch. So you guys hopefully look forward to that. In terms of shorts, like I said, we're going to continue going through my over 10 years of content on this channel, so you guys can be seeing some stuff that are new to this channel you've never seen before. I mean, you can probably look back now if you want to, but who wants to go back 10 years worth of videos? They have over 1,000 videos on this channel at this point. Do I? I'm gonna have to look at that up myself. Maybe I do. If they don't count shorts. If they don't count shorts, unfortunately, I know the studio count shorts as videos, which they should anyway, but like it's that means greatly over exaggerated. Did I actually make 70 long form videos? I mean, 1,000 long form videos. I don't know. I don't personally know. So it is. I will if I ever have the time, I will eventually look into that. But yeah. In terms of live streams, I will try to do one live. I will try. I will do one live stream a week. So there's that. So that's pretty much for this press conference. Like I said, I appreciate you all being here. I just want to do one final check. It'd be hilarious if I've been talking for over an hour. I just want to do one final check. Okay, there you go. It would have been hilarious if it was no audio, which would have made a lot of. Would have been putting icing on this cake of the stream. But yeah, I appreciate anyone who's watching on demand or watching live, because based on my analytics, there was people watching live, whether you guys were talking. Nah, I don't care. If as long as you guys watch, that's how I look at it. As long as you guys watch, I don't care if you guys talk and chat or not, especially during premieres. I just my data tells me all I need to know, see if it's working or not. So I appreciate you guys. For those who look for the Great American Bash, it's tomorrow. I think the start time, if I remember correctly, is 2 or 3. It might have changed. I look on I base everything off of what my YouTube analytics tells me when's the best time to upload, and it might change. But as well as right now, I think it's like 2 or 3 o'clock. So it's a 3-hour show. It's the runtime is going to be over 3 hours. My correction, it's over 3 hours, and it's 8 matches. So you can make of that what you will. I'm not saying there's not. Just wait, and you're gonna. I think you guys won't be disappointed. I think you're going to enjoy what is going to be presented to you tomorrow. That's all. I hope. I can only personally hope. That's just why I put out a poll at the end of every main event of Raw episode. Did you like the video? I put out a poll. And if you guys say yes, then I know I did something right. If you guys say no, it won't hurt my feelings. If you guys say no, then I know, okay, I got to do something different. So I'll see you guys in terms of live on Monday. You know, my analytics tell me I should probably live stream on Sunday. But it coincides with this premiere. So Monday is going to be a live stream, but probably you're going to be expecting weekend live streams moving forward here on the channel. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Creator signing off, and I'll be seeing you guys later. Let's try to work this. See you guys.